Good evening and welcome to City Pulse. It's the start of International Women's Week, and so tonight we'll focus our attention accordingly. In part two, we'll be joined by special guest Conchita Triay, a lifelong feminist, to discuss the biggest issues affecting women today. Issues such as the gender pay gap, parental leave, domestic violence. We'll also be meeting a handful of local women who were the first in their fields. Some really inspiring stories to look forward to. But for now, we say hello to a fully female sofa. Heidi, Tina, Jaylene, and Rosalina. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Estamos synchronized.
How's it going? Good?
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
International Women's Day yesterday. This is the start of International Women's Week. Part one of the show, we'll discuss all things topical, and there is plenty to discuss. First things first, City Pulse is going worldwide.
Nos tenemos que dar cuenta que we are trying to aspire to getting into a club, ¿vale? Which we do not belong to.
We were forgotten about.
No, y eso es lo que me crispa más. This is why I'm saying that rant. Yo lo que me crispa más, what really annoys me, is the Priti Patels and the Suella Bravermans of this world, okay? Coming now, waving the British sovereignty flag when it was
them that got us into
who
this.
got us into this in the first place.
Yeah.
¿Vale?
Totally. Yeah.
Y ahora van a venir
Playing politics.
Como Xavier de Libertad. No! I mean, those, yo qué sé, even when they did their own deal, their own exit strategy, their own EU
They didn't
trade
include.
deal.
They didn't include.
Nos dejaron afuera a nosotros.
Kenneth Cardona at his thrilling best. So that was last Monday. Then on the Tuesday, we got that particular clip up on social media, and it went
Viral.
Viral, pero viral. I mean, I don't know what constitutes viral these days, but it was like around 420,000 views worldwide, and we're talking like pretty much every continent. Not bad.
It's just probably still growing, girl, yeah. That way still has to go some way.
Last time I checked, it was about 420,000 views. The indispensable Kenneth Cardona. Lots of love for the. I mean, I was slightly nervous about looking through the comments because
You
the
don't
comments-
know what they're going to say.
Yeah, it's
Was I wrong to be nervous about it?
no,
Or like,
no, at all.
I felt it too, see. Digo,
Social media can be a little bit
yeah,
un poquito toxic.
exactly. and I found myself scrolling through loads of positivity, but with an eagle eye looking for the first bit of negativity. I don't know why, but this is just a really bad habit I'm into. I don't know about you
Yeah.
guys,
Yes.
but
Yeah. You know, especially like the younger generation, my generation, we live through our phones, we live through social media, and you can see that even the generations below me, everything is so what's the word? Like, it's so purposeful.
Yeah.
Like nothing, you know, I used to go out on a Friday night and post like 70 photos, Friday the 17th, and like, quemadísima, you know, like in Latinos with my drinks. And now
Different
I'm like,
times.
no way I'm ever going to post anything like that, ever.
Yeah.
I just get the rogue post from my mom of me at a dinner, like, feísima.
But my point was that there was very, very little negativity, thankfully.
didn't find anything
in there.
actually.
See, there was a couple of things.
There was a
A
couple.
few rogue slang
yeah,
words
yeah.
con lo de Libertad Español
Yeah.
because
The
they
typical-
can't resist.
Está por
we're
todos lados.
gonna
In
get
the,
that all the time.
area sur or area Campo de Libertad,
Libertad.
which is where they post mainly things happening here in Jib. And sometimes I'm scrolling, they go, anda, let's see the first comment.
There's always a
Pero
comment.
There is. There's
And
always
it's
that
always
little
better
one.
that time of comment not to engage. Porque
No.
you don't know
Pero
anything.
sí que
I just
sometimes you
gave them
feel
more-
like, le tengo que
Sí,
contestar.
claro.
Yeah, yeah.
With that, no,
Hay
I'm not
mucha
going
gente
to.
who do. There's a lot of people
Oh,
who,
yeah.
who get in there and they start humming and
I used to.
hoeing and coming and going.
I used to comment
Sí,
sometimes,
no,
la
no.
verdad.
It's not
Ya,
worth it. It's not worth it.
It's a losing battle.
that's
I don't know how
what-
you,
No
I
vale
don't
la
know how you
pena.
win that situation.
No, you
la
can't.
verdad,
You never do.
don't
No,
really,
you never
know.
do.
And at the end of the day, you're playing into the hands because they're trying to
That's what I was
provoke
gonna say.
exactly that. So
And your
you
blood
have to
pressure goes
restrain
up.
yourself.
También.
And your blood pressure
Yeah,
goes
that's
up.
another
No
thing.
vale la pena. No vale
Porque
la
lo
pena.
hacen, lo pinchan.
Sí,
No
lo
vale la
pinchan.
pena.
And
It's
they-
not worth it.
But look, I mean, every Gibraltarian has spoken about this before, but we take for granted El Llanito, and it's just people are falling in love with it. Eh?
Yes,
Like there's so
yes.
much interest and love from like South and Central America specifically, because obviously there's a bit of Llanitismo going on there too. no?
Spanglish.
Yeah, the Spanglish.
¿no?
Yeah, yeah.
And they love this kind of like they can't get their heads around it. It's really cool.
To be honest, I don't think we can get our heads round it either, la verdad.
Ourselves, no?
Yeah.
It's true.
I can barely say a full
our
sentence in
language-
English
And it
anymore.
might it comes very naturally
Naturally,
to us, so it just
Diego.
There
just
are
appears.
words which I remember a couple of years ago, I was in the bus. My son used to play basketball in Spain. We were on the bus, and I said, uy, porque tuve el plomero en casa.
Fontanero.
Plomero que just
Yeah,
does
yeah.
not exist.
No, it's fontanero.
No, it's fontanero.
Y yo
But
convencí-
they would understand. No.
No, they didn't.
Plomero
They
is
didn't.
plama.
And plomero, pluma.
Sí,
Digo,
no.
no, la tubería que... And my husband looked at me. Y vamos, tiene que estar viéndome ahora, si tiene que estar riendo, remembering that day en el coach yendo para Jerez. When they all looked at me, empezaron a reírse. That is a Janita. Digo, sí, una Janita.
Vino el
Plomero,
Same-
vino el
same
plomero.
como-
Like,
Como grifo. Veniva a ser canilla.
Canilla.
Habla
La
canilla,
canilla,
la
¿eh?
canilla.
And it's
Y la
grifo,
pila, ¿no?
¿verdad?
And
Canilla.
pipería for pipe.
Pipería,
Pipería, ¿verdad?
La pipería tan atascada.
sí.
Pipería se ha dicho siempre.
I love it. Now this is going to go viral this coming week. This exact conversation.
Y él
Bueno,
sube
good.
para arriba. Venga, sube para
Sube
arriba.
arriba y baja
O
para
para abajo. That's very, very Janito as
very
well.
Janito.
Yeah.
Llama para atrás. I'm hearing in my ear as well.
Llama
So
Llama
para
para
that's
atrás.
another
Llama
one.
para atrás. También.
Marchapié.
Es verdad.
El marchapié.
The
Is that Spanish though?
The marchapié is
Yeah, yeah, the
actually no, it's
marchapié.
actually
French.
no, it's
Sí?
actually
Marchapiés.
Italian.
Mira ella.
Sí, no, porque se
sí.
ve
Italian
before.
marchapié di.
Sí.
That's what my dad told me.
You see,
And
every
marchapié,
night,
marchapié
every night
di.
is a
Italian
school
and
night on
French.
City Pulse.
Viene del
Yeah, you
mismo.
learn
Comes
something
from
new every
Italian.
day.
It probably
There you go.
A lo
comes
mejor viene
from
de
Latin,
francés
either
también.
Latin, French,
Sí,
and
it
Italian.
was a
Yo
proper
que-
word, and it's gone into marchapié.
Marchapié.
But it was a marchapié di.
Is that something that we don't value enough? The fact that El Llanitismo is kind of like a mix of many more dialects than
Claro.
just sort of English and Spanish. That's kind of like basic level. No,
And
but
we-
actually there's so much.
And apart from that, I think I should mention que en la caleta we have our own particular words as well.
¿Es verdad?
Ah, sí.
Estaba claro.
Sí.
Estaba
No me
claro.
En la
digas.
caleta no se
Hombre,
dice
claro.
canilla ni grifo.
No, sí, pero a lot in reference to the
And there's still
weather,
people who speak Italian, ¿no, Rosalina?
to... Ya no queda nadie.
No, cantaban in Italian
A
in
cantar,
Midnight
sí.
Mass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
In Midnight
yeah.
Mass, they used to sing in
Yeah.
Italian.
Wow.
Really? Does anyone still speak it? We,
No,
we should
no,
get
no,
them
no,
on.
no, no.
No?
But in reference
De
to
latina.
foods, in reference to the weather, de los vientos, eso sí, hay muchas palabras que
Sí, ¿no?
are peculiar to Catalan Bay.
Qué
Wow.
bonito, ¿no?
Bueno,
That's
tiene,
very-
nos tiene que dar ahora a nosotros un
We're going to do a
un
program
lecture
on
on
Catalan
Sí, I
Bay.
was just going to say,
Do a
do a
program on
program
Catalan
de
Bay.
caleteño.
Y ya está.
Do a
You
program.
can contribute.
Lo mismo que está
Claro.
el Janito
Sí,
Dictionary,
Eh.
the
Catalan.
Caleteños
No,
no.
Dictionary,
No,
the
it's
Caleta
important.
Dictionary.
Good.
It's important to keep the Janito
sí.
alive.
At
Yeah,
some
yeah,
point
yeah.
when I retire, I'm going to write a book. I always tell my son who's
Pues no te
behind,
esperes,
behind
no
the
retire.
camera
Do it ya.
that someday I'm
mira.
going to do
Do
it,
it
and
ya.
I might do it.
What you're gonna you want to author a life in? Is this an exclusive?
Robin ya
a
getting all
novel, a
excited.
small novel.
nervioso.
Hablando, speaking about the things I remember. Que me contaba mi abuela,
Oh,
que me
that's very
contaba mi
good, you should
madre,
keep it.
the extended family stories de cuando la guerra,
Sí.
de cuando ellos eran chicos living in Caleta and the change.
Yeah, yeah.
I always think I'm going to try and put that together so that it's never forgotten by the
Well,
generation.
now you've said it on national TV, ja, you have
You
to
have to do it, ya.
Yeah.
See, I commit.
Aunque
I
no lo
commit.
escriba, if you like record like a voice note.
No, but
y
I know,
después ya
I
you
know.
have it.
I know what I need to write
Claro.
down. Probably once it's written, then I will think of more things to add, no?
Looking forward to it. Set for release later this year.
Al launch, no tiene que invitar al
Christmas
launch.
A launch.
We're invited to the
Let's
launch.
go take
We've
years,
invited ourselves to the
We can
launch.
do
It's
the
going to
launch
take
here.
years,
That's
Javier.
it.
Poquito
It's not going to be done
champán.
overnight.
But on a more serious note, the point that Kenneth was making in that clip that would go on to go viral was the whole treaty talk, and lo que le gripa is that a lot of people, I don't know about a lot of people, but some feel like it should have gone to a referendum. I imagine you disagree, Tina.
I didn't agree with the referendum. No.
Crazy, really, no?
I didn't think it was... Que no venía al caso.
No venía al caso.
No venía al caso. And, you know, there were a few people, fair enough. I respect everybody's opinion. But I didn't agree with it. I don't think there was any point in the referendum.
Well, so
At the
It's
end of
already
the
been
day.
agreed.
So this was around 100 people who held a public protest on Thursday last week against the
Yeah.
treaty. It was organised on social media. People from both sides of the border were present, and they marched from casemates behind a banner which read, "No to this treacherous treaty, yes to a referendum." The treaty was never going to satisfy everyone.
Everybody.
We knew that.
No, the problem with the treaty is that there's going to be 20 million opinions,
Claro.
obviously. And it's either the other or the treaty.
Yeah.
Do we want the other? Do we want a hard Brexit, which is going to cause extreme difficulties at the frontier, economic crisis, all sorts of things? Or can we adapt to this? Yes, there are going to be changes. Yes, there are going to be consequences, but we have to adapt. And as Gibraltarians, we have always adapted. When the frontier closed, and we were closed in for 16 years, did we adapt? Yes. And we adapted really well. And not only the frontier, through the centuries, through all the sieges that Gibraltar has seen, 14 sieges, have people adapted? Yes, they have.
I think
They have
they've
adapted.
done.
And we
they've
will
made-
again.
Yeah, and they will again. And they will. We
The
will
best
again.
of a bad situation.
We will
yes.
adapt
Yeah,
again.
I agree.
Yeah.
We were, as we said last week, we were forgotten about. That was an agreement between the UK and Spain. Gibraltar was nowhere near like that agreement. So under the circumstances, in the worst of the worst situations, I think the best deal has been agreed for us.
And we were told from the very beginning, when the negotiations started, that there were going to be many things that we were not going to like.
Claro que sí.
But in a
You cannot
negotiation,
please everybody.
it's give and take, no? It's
Sí.
It's a give and take.
Yeah, compromise being the key word. Government, perhaps unsurprisingly, very optimistic about it. Others, perhaps a little more sort of doubtful. Pero bueno, this is where we are. Time now to fly the nest. And this week, we meet a lady who, after 25 years living la dolce vita, recently decided it was time to return home.
My name is Anna Serra and I'm in Rome, Italy, and I have been 25 years here. My company is the only woman-led company in Italy, DMC. My company is a destination management company that I built from scratch, and I think that was amazing to do as a Gibraltarian, porque nosotros vivimos en un pueblecito chiquitito. If the young generation, ¿no? Los millennials, los Gen Zs, que ahora seguramente estarán en ese position de should I move? No, porque it's always scary. El transition, it's really, really scary. That's why not many people do it. It's hard y extraordinary at the same time, and you learn and you find yourself in a country without knowing the language. Pero it's incredible, the challenge, the experience, it's amazing. Gibraltar se vive muy bien. Lo que pasa que, ironically, you need to leave from Gibraltar to really understand and see Gibraltar in another light. I'm really excited de volver. I've missed my family profoundly. Janita pura. I miss my friends. I miss the community, lo que tenemos en Gibraltar. We're very, very special. Gibraltar, yo me emociono y todo hablando de Gibraltar. Mira, tengo la isla bandera. I'm I've guided a lot of people from Gibraltar en Roma. Mis tours en Roma o cuando he hecho guiding a los grupos por Italia, empiezan todo. I'm from Gibraltar, Gibraltar is an overseas British territory, con que hablo de Gibraltar en Italia por 25 años. Esta compañía tiene un tour operator led solely by women. No, y no es porque I open the applications que vengan solo mujeres, es que vino orgánicamente. Yo soy una persona que a mí me encanta estar en las trincheras, a mí me encanta todavía guide los grupos, be a tour guide, and I'll go back to Gibraltar and I will study as a tour guide porque me encanta ese contacto con las personas. Pero hay muchas personas que quieren la oportunidad que estén en leadership, ¿no? Quieren estar en management, quieren ser la propietaria de una compañía y no tenemos esa opción. La tenemos, pero no la tenemos. We are more trained to be in the trenches because we're very good, because we multitask. And I get it. We women, we are great in multitasking and we're fabulous. However, I want the choice. If I want to be in the trenches, okay, but if I want to grow and arrive to leadership, I should have that opportunity. And as you can see, if I'm the only woman-led company in Italy, it says a lot. By 2008, I became very, very good. Very, very good guide. And claro, las personas me decían, ay Ana, no conoce a nadie en Florencia, no conoce a nadie en Venecia, que voy para allá. Digo, pues mira, sí. Y ya en el 2008, I started creating these small packages. Y by 2018, abro la compañía, tour operator. Luego, COVID. So that was very, very challenging. Y nada, I got that moment to market the business. Y cuando salimos a la grande, yo de muy chiquitita ya, I knew that my life, my choice, my result. ¿Sabes qué digo? Entonces, esto lo tenemos, vamos, mi hermana y mis hermanos lo tenemos muy engranado. Whatever we do, it's us, our choice. And we're very strong. And that's thanks to how I was raised. Entonces, I'm very grateful.
There you go, Ana Serra, who actually now, as we speak, is back in Gibraltar and watching tonight. So a very good evening to Ana. Thanks for having been a part of it. At the time, she was into the last stretch of her 25 years in Rome. Who's been? Everyone.
All of us.
Claro. ¿Y qué? Overrated, underrated, or the right amount of rating?
I loved it.
Amazing.
Yeah?
I was there for a short time.
Yeah.
Like pit stop when we went on the cruise, pero a mí me gustó.
So was I, like short time because of the cruise, yeah.
Hot,
but it's
pero hot,
amazing.
eh?
Hot.
Sí.
Hot.
July, August.
Yeah, I
pues
got a
ya
heat.
me-
I got a heat.
I went in April for a long weekend and it was still boiling.
Yeah.
Pero
In
qué
April.
bonito.
Yeah.
It's
Bonito.
bursting with history.
Oh, yeah.
Saben, I have mi marido que es como mi walking
Guides.
historian,
Guys,
¿sabes?
no, working historian.
Aunque me enteré de
Do you
todo.
welcome that? Or, I mean, this is your chance to have a go. If
Yes,
you,
we saw, the Gladiator and Colosseum.
Body.
Shout out to my husband.
We went with the kids in the cruise también. But like I said, we fell in love with the place, so we went back again after summer, only the both of us, so
Nice.
to see it properly.
Lo aprovechaste bien after
Yeah.
second
Without the
time
kids,
round.
without the kids. cramping
Without the
style.
kids.
I like it. Speaking of abroad, I'm sure you'll have come across the story of Gibraltar resident Paul Buxton over the weekend. He was the patient of a landmark robotic surgery carried out in Gibraltar from London. Earlier this year, Paul was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Days after the diagnosis, the 62-year-old received a call from one of the world's leading urologists, Dr. Prokar Dasgupta, proposing an operation with a twist.
The twist was it was going to be done by telesurgery. Obviously, I didn't know anything about telesurgery at this stage. And he explained it to me that he would be operating on me with a robot in Gibraltar, but he'd actually be controlling the robot from London. So one of the main concerns with this, obviously, is that you're having it done remotely, which means there has to be connectivity between Gibraltar and London. But that was really not a concern after I spoke with the surgeon, because he explained to me that it was done with a fibre optic cable that goes through the sea and right into the hospital. So it's a secure line, or secure connectivity. So obviously that most people I spoke to before that said, what if the Wi-Fi goes down? But we didn't have to. So that's one of my first questions to the surgeon, and he put me at ease really when he explained it all to me. He gave me a week. He gave me the option of going to having the telesurgery, and he gave me a week to think about it, where I did a little bit of research, looked at it, and I thought, yeah, this is for me. I thought it would be great, really. It takes all the travel out of the equation, and 80% of the pressure coming by habit of being diagnosed with cancer, it's all the travel and staying in London and all the upheaval, taking an escort with me who'd have to take time off work. So having telesurgery meant I didn't have to do all the travel, and I could actually do my recovery at home in Gibraltar, which was why, or one of the main reasons I chose this surgery. As far as the recovery is concerned, I had 2 days in hospital, came out. I had to be careful what I ate, take care of my diet. I could start doing a little bit walking as soon as I could. Obviously, the first 10 days I had a catheter in, so that was a little bit awkward, sleeping, but nothing. Everything was manageable, really. And I think I'm 3.5, 4 weeks in now, and I've got another couple of weeks to go before I make a full recovery. But I feel fantastic. It's amazing.
There you go. He feels fantastic, which is really the headline from that story. You guys would have picked it up over the weekend, no? Sky
Yes.
News, BBC
Yes.
News,
Yeah.
ITA.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I saw it on Channel 5 as well.
Really?
Yeah. It was on Facebook today on Channel 5, so it's all over the place.
Vecino tuyo, ¿no?
Sí, from Catalan Bay.
¿Qué? Buena gente?
Sí.
Well, you have to say that.
No, him and his wife, Lucia.
Lucia is lovely.
Lovely.
Look, not to trivialize the situation, the reality is that Mr. Buxton was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and it looks, thankfully, as though the everything's gone smoothly, not just the procedure, which was kind of like the main thing, but the recovery too. And that's the point of this. 1,750 kilometers away. Boom.
It's amazing, but on the other hand, think about it.
Frightening, no?
It's frightening because the first thing that came to mind...
You said the P word.
The first thing that came to mind was the machine is in the UK, or doing the thing here. What if there's a power cut?
I thought the same.
¿Qué pasa?
I thought the same.
It's scary.
Yeah. I like to think between the world's leading urologists and the GHA, they've thought about them. They've thought about the potential.
No,
And there probably was a
there
plan
was
B,
backup.
Obviously, it was
Wi-Fi
backup there.
connection.
Good Wi-Fi.
Good Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No, but it's amazing.
sure they
that
made
we're
it.
It's
alive.
absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
It's
It is.
mind-blowing. It's
is.
actually mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Technology,
And
and
loads
how
of
much
guts
it's
as well.
advanced.
And to
From
think
Paul
that
to
this is going to happen very normally.
Yeah.
And our children, for
In the
those of us
future?
who've got more grown, are going to be seeing this as very normal.
Yeah.
And they may even ask, ¿qué lo hacían con la mano?
Sí.
Si está el robot,
Sí.
¿para qué
El
metían
robot?
la mano?
The same child saying,
Really?
was there a border back in the day?
Yeah.
Serious?
Is that what they did
Oh my
before?
God, how crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it looks
nice.
amazing.
I mean, the point of this, and I'm very, very, very glad to say that Dr. Andrew Gordon, who is one of the GHA's top surgeons, will be on the sofa with us in a couple of weeks, and we'll be discussing it in much more detail, hopefully alongside Paul Buxton.
Good. Yeah, so
firmly
people can
crossed,
hear
so we can get the full
perspective.
story.
and what his feelings were and
Claro,
what
I mean,
he thought.
he
had
said
loads
that
of
he
guts,
was,
eh?
Yes.
Loads
He
of
said
guts.
that he was.
Yeah.
He didn't
Go
think
ahead
twice
with it,
about
eh?
being the guinea pig.
No,
I don't know,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not for everyone, but
No.
He had loads of guts.
But I think just being at home and having that comfort when you're in,
Yes,
in a situation where you're being operated, it's lovely to have your family and
it is.
aquí en
Yes,
tu casa, ¿no?
definitely.
See, we have the home away from home back in the UK in Calpe House, which is amazing. But
No place like
here
home.
you're at home.
Yeah.
There's no place like home. Como dice
place like
Jacqueline.
home.
Yeah.
You've got your support system, your family around you. Eso ya es.
And before we do go, just a big thanks to the sponsors who were involved. I spoke to Joe Holiday earlier today of the of Prostate Cancer Gibraltar, and it's really through the generosity of the Consumer Trust, together with a number of key sponsors and organisations, the likes of Anglo Hispano, Bland Limited, and the Gibraltar International Bank, to name a few, all committed to improving men's health on the Rock. Okay, time for a quick break. When we return, spotlight firmly on the women in our lives, and if you'd like to send a message about the most important women in your life, do not hesitate. citypulse@gbc.gi. See you now.
Welcome back to City Pulse. Se fue el muchacho. And the takeover is complete. My name is Tina Galliano. I am your new host. Now, before we discuss the issues of today, we thought it might be useful to compare and contrast them with the sort of issues women were dealing with decades ago. This is a snippet from GBC Archives, a televised discussion about the role of women in Gibraltar back in 1988.
Even God made man before he made woman, didn't he? I mean,
well, so they say. Must have been for a reason. What you're saying, then, it seems to be substantiated by your two married colleagues here, that the children, one way or the other, are influenced to be the leading role.
I mean, a lot of the boys do believe that the woman's place is in the home. Actually, from listening to the other boys, I mean, if they allow their wife to go out on an all-girls night, their friends will probably tell them, oh, you're an idiot, you know, amongst other things, because your wife's going out on an all-girls night.
We seem to have arrived at a consensus on what the situation is, but why is that? I mean, maybe you are happy with it. You allow it to carry on?
It's a very patronising thing to say, Clive.
Go ahead and...
Men are always patronising. And purely professional basis, but they will refer to the woman as darling, as you did before to me, which you would not do to a male colleague. Basically, I think that the woman is an intelligent being, probably more intelligent than the man, if I may say so.
Prove it, lady, prove it.
It has been proved in many spheres. I mean, in society, really, it's run by Margaret Thatcher. I mean, she's a woman, and we got
the exception
the Queen, and she's another woman.
The exception proves the rule.
That is not the exception. Not to women.
Now, isn't your function perhaps something else, and it is biological, the fact that you carry children, that birth is essential for the woman, it is the most essential part of your existence.
Is this the most essential part of our existence?
I'm asking. Surely you can't produce the same way, because you have to fulfill this function of carrying a child for 9 months, then after that you take your maternity leave and whatever, and basically you have to provide children.
And in that sense, I think women have got a great advantage, because they can experience that which a man cannot.
So what are you worried about?
And I'm not worried.
We can't have children and go to work, so you have children and we go to work.
Why don't you stay at home and mind the children? Well,
That's a very narrow-channeled view.
Yeah.
So males don't discriminate, it's really the children, you see. Okay, the lady in the front.
Conchita Triay, I would like to comment on your attitude. I find it very patronizing.
Are you talking to me?
To you, yes. I find that you're not taking the subject seriously, which is typical of males. And I find it a bit of an insult, you know, that this program is dedicated to women, supposedly. For a start, 20 minutes on women is hardly enough. And on top of it, you're acting very much in the male way. Oh, let's give them a chance, you know, but then...
It would be very difficult for me to act in the female way, you do understand. But please go ahead.
No,
but please go ahead. That's fair criticism.
I'm not saying that you are behaving in a male way, in a complimentary fashion. I think there is nothing complimentary about being macho, which is what you're being, chauvinistic, to put it a different way. I think you can be a perfectly whole kind of man. In fact, you are only a whole kind of man if you don't have that kind of attitude. As Marisa said, men have enormous hang-ups, and it's as much their problem as ours.
Nearly 40 years later, Conchita Triay joins us. Good evening, Conchita.
Good
Welcome
evening,
to the
Tina.
show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
What are your thoughts 40 years later?
40 years later.
Just a minute. Excuse me, Clive Golter Tawaki? Yes?
Show him in.
No, I have to say that Clive's attitude was very typical of the times. It wasn't just Clive being condescending to women, patronizing. It was the way that a lot of men, most men, behaved towards
back then.
Yeah. But it was just, he was getting on my nerves so much that I just had to say something. Yeah.
And you were so calm and controlled when you did. You were so polite.
Well, was I? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're saying that, because I thought, oh my goodness, that's a bit...
No.
Because I think it did take him by surprise, and it was a bit shocking for him. But I think you need to say that. You need to say things like that, because
He was very surprised, definitely, yes.
It was the way, as I say, it was the way that many men, or most men, treated women. I'm glad to say that I don't think it's as prevalent now. I don't think, not at all.
So obviously you see the advancement.
Yes, I think there has
These
been
40 years on.
There has
been, like we all
there has definitely been progress.
Huge progress,
in many ways.
But in many areas we still have many ways to go.
Yes, but there is still a lot to be done. I mean, I'd like to make a few points about the whole issue of feminism. For a start, I'd like to say that feminism doesn't mean, I know it might seem silly that I'm saying this, but I think a lot of people still think that feminism means that it's women are superior, and that it's an anti-men thing. It isn't. Feminism is about wanting equality for all genders and for everybody. And but the thing is, it's called feminism because the ones who have always been at the bottom of the pile are the women.
Are the women, definitely.
So women have had to fight, literally fight, for everything that they have gained, for every right that they have gained. Not to be above men, not to be superior to men, but to have the equal opportunities, equal access to education, equal access to health, equal access to travel, to property, to anything.
Everything,
obviously, equal payment. So this is what feminism is about. But as you say, Tina, there are still a lot of issues that are pending.
And a lot of progress to get by. So anybody have thought of any of the issues?
I just wanted to say that, you know, as a woman of the younger generation, that watching this back, that it is because of women like you that we are where we are today. Because if we didn't have women like you to have the confidence to speak out, and it's like, it's emotional. It's emotional.
Well, thank you. I mean, frankly, I did, as I was a teacher for many years in a girls' school, and I did try to put these points across. In fact, the other day, I met Samantha Sacramento, who was an ex-pupil of mine. And she reminded me, she was saying to me, you know, I remember the first lesson in feminism that I learned was when you wrote on the board, you wrote your name on the board, and you said you were MS Triay. And you explained, and then the girls would say, are you married? And I'd say, yes, I'm married. Oh, but you don't. And that would be the first lesson, not that I would spend my time. I taught English and French. But I mean, that was a very useful way of introducing that idea. You know, that you could keep your own name. I know it was my father's name, not my mother's name, but still. So, yes, I think it is important. I only became aware of feminism as feminism when I went to university. When I started reading feminist literature and so on, and of course I thought, yes, this is what it's about.
This is what it's all about.
This is what it's all about.
Definitely.
You know? And again, within feminism, there are many different kinds of views and things, because we're all different and everybody has different priorities,
different opinions,
and so on. But there are certain facts that I would like to make, if you don't mind. That, for example, the worst form of misogyny, of the hatred of women, and some people might say, well, but the men don't hate women because men love women. No, many men still love women as objects, as commodities, not as equal human beings. And these are the men who kill at the worst of this hatred of women is the killing of women. And I was looking at some statistics and wanting to remember them. In 2025, there were 44 women killed by their partners, male partners, in Spain, for example. In the UK, 155 women were killed in 2025. You know, obviously that is the worst.
And there was an article about domestic abuse, wasn't there?
Yes.
In the Chronicle. I don't know if you read it.
There's a lot of... But I'm saying this is the extreme. But
These
of
are
course,
the extreme, definitely.
most people don't get to that, obviously.
And I don't know if you know about this. I heard it the other day on Spanish television. It's the gender-based murders, killings that are the highest ever from the start of the year. We've only been January, February, and not even half of March.
Yes, we don't have the statistics.
And they said that it was one of the highest years of gender-based murders of children and women.
So obviously,
imagine those that stay silent, because those stats. Obviously, we've got the stats of people who speak out. They report. But those that stay silent,
there is a lot of there is still a lot of domestic violence. The difference is that nowadays, in some parts of the world, because that's another thing, you know, we talk about Gibraltar and we talk about Europe, but most women don't live in places where there is any kind of legislation.
And at the moment, there's a horrific situation in Afghanistan.
Well, Afghanistan is the pits. It's the pits.
It's the pits, precisely.
But there are many, many countries still where women are treated as an object, as a possession,
as well,
belonging to the man, or to whether it's the father, or whether it's the brothers, or whether it's the partner, the husband. You know, they have no choices in anything.
No whatsoever.
Way back when a woman belonged in the kitchen, cooking, looking after the children. Now we've advanced. Now you do see men.
In the days of advocating for women's rights, and that, did you find that there were, especially going back decades, that there were also women against what you were after?
Of course.
It was quite widespread.
Women, I mean, feminism isn't something that pertains just to women. There are men who can be feminists, and there are women who are not feminists, and women who cling to the traditional roles because it's what they feel safest in.
We were actually talking about that.
Although
there hasn't been any sort of evolution as they've grown up. No.
I think as well that the older a few generations ago, the feminism was about fighting for legislation, fighting for the opportunity to vote, to get a job, find employment. And I think now for the younger generation, there is this whole thing of, I'm not a feminist, but I believe in equality.
Yes.
You know, and
because I don't think
it's dangerous.
It is dangerous because I don't. But that is why I said the thing about feminism, because I don't think people understand what feminism is, and in fact, there is a drive away from women's rights and so on, going backwards. I mean, we see that because there is a lot of rise of the ultra right in countries around Europe, and they push for the traditional roles. They like having the women at home, taking care of the children, and that's it, you know. And that, I think, brings.
We've got something coming up.
Okay, something coming up. All right.
We've been gearing up for this City Pulse special for a while, and over the last couple of weeks, GBC has heard some of the most inspiring stories from a handful of local women who were the first in their fields. Truly inspiring and grateful to those women for sharing their stories.
My name is Annabel Felipes, and I was Gibraltar's first female London Marathon runner.
I'm Paula Latin, and I am GBC's first female CEO.
I'm Yvette Senet. I am the first local female bus driver.
I am Gillian Guzman, and I became Gibraltar's first female King's Counsel at the age of 39. I continue to be the only female King's Counsel in the jurisdiction and one of the youngest appointees.
I remember when my mum used to send me to the shops, I would actually run all the way there and run all the way back and make it like a kind of race for myself. So I just loved the freedom of running. One day, I think I may have seen the London Marathon television or something, and I thought, that might not be a bad idea. I joined one of the races, one of the half marathons done by the GAAA, and it was only half a dozen people and myself. But I was the only lady there at the time running, so it was a bit daunting. But I actually didn't come last. I came second last, which was brilliant, really.
Well, it all started when I was really young, actually. I first started presenting some Christmas programs when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My mum worked at GBC. She was a radio presenter and she worked in the newsroom. Both my parents were thespians, so my sister and I grew up in the theatre. So we were very much used to being on stage and being around cameras. It wasn't too scary for us. And then at 17, I started presenting a youth program called POU, which I also did with my sister, actually, and with Jonathan and Owen Smith. After that, it was a very natural progression for me to study TV production, media, and specialise in TV production at university.
I became a lawyer in 1994. I was called to the bar in England and Wales and then in Gibraltar. And I became a King's Counsel in 2012, so it was International Women's Day. And I recall that I went in the evening to a ceremony at the City Hall that was being organised by the Ministry of Equality. And it was the first event for women. And it was in a way kind of the precursor of what was to come, because the event has now become far more, there's greater awareness and there's greater information out there.
Back in 1990, I always loved driving, and I decided to take up my bus driving license. I don't mind driving anything. And that has compensated me because during the years, due to my circumstances, this came handy and a job came up at the bus company.
What I would say to any young girl, young lady, young woman even, who are keen to take part in such an activity, such an event, I would definitely encourage them to go for it.
I would encourage it. Gives you, as again, gives you another insight on how to drive.
The legal profession is an amazing profession, and it's a privilege to do what I do.
Make your choice, decide what it is that you want to do in life, whatever that may be, and commit to it. Work really hard. It also really helps if it's something that you enjoy, because you spend so much time at work that it's got to be something that you enjoy and ignites your passion. But commit to it, work really hard. The haters are always going to hate, but don't give them the opportunity to pigeonhole you. Let your actions speak for themselves, and that is how you will soar.
I would tell them that they need to be very serious about their preparation, because it does take a lot of determination, a lot of preparation.
I think it's vocational. So you really need to have a clear mind and say to yourself, this is what I want to do for a living. And then you need to be very aware that it's going to entail sacrifice. Long hours, hard work.
Advise them as well to follow some kind of program that would lead up from January till April, which is when usually the London Marathon falls. And definitely try and get a coach to help them along as well.
And it's also doable by having a work-life balance. And I feel personally that with a lot of support from my colleagues at work, support from my family, I've managed to do both. So therefore, there is a future out there for anyone who wants to pursue it.
I was very blessed to have a lot of support from friends and families, and I had a friend of mine who also jogged, who would come with me for the longer distances, and that made it much easier as well.
I've had people complimenting me how well I've driven, and I don't like boasting about it, but and I love it. It's my passion. I don't do it because of a job, and I've never come to work because it's a job. I've come because I I like my job.
And I was doing quite a long run. I can't remember exactly, it was a 15K run or 20K run. But it, of course, had to be a day that it was pouring down with rain, ankle deep, at quite a part of the actual road. But I thought, I've got to keep going, I've got to keep going. And that really was like, I felt was, you know, was kind of running over a tiny little rivulet instead of the actual road. But it kept my humor up, funnily enough, and I was determined to actually carry on.
I am a lousy singer. Tone deaf doesn't even begin to describe how bad I am, but I love singing. So when I'm in the car, I'll wind up the windows and I'll rank up the volume on the music and I'll just sing my little heart out. And one time I was doing exactly that and I could hear all this screaming from the back seat and my nieces were sitting there and they were like, "Auntie, you're making our ears bleed." So yeah, I'm a really bad singer.
Okay, so a lot of people think that I'm quite serious. Some may feel that I'm a little bit intimidating when they first meet me, but the reality of it is that, you know, what I do as a lawyer is that's my day job, but what I truly love is being a mother to my 2 daughters, and really spending time. And we've just come back from a magnificent trip to Disneyland Paris, and really that's, you know, you should have seen me there, wearing my Mickey Mouse ears and running around with my girls. So that is really truly who I am, but needless to say, I have a far more formal, you know, persona in the office and in the court.
Truly inspiring and grateful to those women for sharing their stories. It's Jaylene Fasio-Vinland, and no minor prizes tonight. Dejadse que tengo el sheet secreto aquí arriba ya. So we still have some major topics to continue discussing. So, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
It's not about we are better than men. It's not about dissing men. It's not. I've heard that being mentioned a lot last week. Yeah. Oh, International Women's Day. Vaya allá los hombres abajo. It's not about that at all.
That seems to be the typical thing, no? That men say, oh, if maybe not all men.
No, not all.
No, not all.
You know, feminism, we just want equality. No? Like, I believe in equality, not feminism.
Not feminism. Yeah.
I think International Women's Day, for me personally, it's to recognise those women in my life which have truly defined the way that I view women and the way that I view myself, no? Does anyone come to mind when you think of women in your life who significantly inspire you?
Yes.
Katina.
My mother inspired me.
Your mom?
Very much so. She was a very much forward-thinking woman. So she was very ahead of everything, especially in the 60s when everything changed and clothes and music and everything changed. And then she wrote a book as well.
Oh, wow.
So she did inspire me very much.
In what ways would you say that she was a modern woman?
She was a modern woman because she wore trousers when nobody was wearing them. And
I love that.
Yes, very quick.
But think about that, wearing trousers.
Very quickly.
Wearing trousers.
See, wearing
trousers.
Think about that.
5 of us are wearing trousers tonight to think something so simple.
Yeah, that sort of thing, you know, and she enjoyed me enjoying modern things, whereas there were other mothers that said, no, esa farda no te la puede poner, que así de chica. And she would say, no, you wear it, you wear it. We didn't do anything during the war. We couldn't even buy clothes during the war. So she was very, very forward-thinking in everything, in not only that, in everything.
I do think that my mum's generation, and your mum sounds like a modern woman, but my mum definitely made it a point que yo, mi hermano, you know, we're both the same. We've both been brought up the same. Mi hermano hace de comer, yo hago de comer.
Very important.
Lavadora, él hace lavadora. Do you think that's the case with kids nowadays?
Yes, my sons. Yeah. I've got a 25-year-old and a 21-year-old, and one of them is in uni. The other one lives with his girlfriend. They cook, they clean, they iron. Yeah. When they're home, no, eh? when Matthew comes home, he's on holiday.
It's like
he's
a break.
on holiday,
yeah.
but
they regress. When they get home, they go back to being
I remember when they were kids, when they're chico, before going to school, they made their beds, even if it wasn't properly done. And I used to go and make the beds again. But they had to make their beds. It's something that...
It's different to like my generation. At home, we are brought up my sister and myself were expected to help around the house on Saturdays, a bit of dusting, or mandao. But my brother was not expected.
No, it's true.
No.
I've heard that from my aunties because it's my dad and he's got 3 siblings. Son tres hembras y un varón.
Boys didn't do anything in the house, basically, no housework.
Now it's different.
Sí, no, yo voy a la casa de mi abuela y mi abuelo ahora, mi abuela siempre dice, tu abuelo ayuda ahora. Ahora, como si la cosa o la vida, la pobre.
That word that you've used, ayuda.
Ayudar, yeah.
That is the wrong word, because that's not what it should be.
No.
It's true.
I mean, for many years, women say, oh, because my husband helps me, because my... No, it's not a question of help.
Oh, my husband's babysitting the kids tonight.
Yeah.
This is why we need to have parental leave in Gibraltar, but you need to have proper parental leave. You need to have the parental leave that they have in the most progressive countries, in the Nordic countries, where you have a certain amount of time that's given to the woman who has a child, and then maybe some paternal leave. But then there is a joint parental leave, which in the best cases, for example, they say, okay, you have an extra year, which you divide between you, but the man has to take at least X amount of time. And if the man doesn't take it, they lose it. It's the only way to break the stereotypes, because in many cases, the way things are, because, you know, men are stuck in their role, and women in many cases are stuck in their role. So what would happen if this didn't, if it wasn't forced for the man to take it, that they wouldn't take it, and, and everything would just carry on the same. You need to break those patterns so that the men become as involved in childcare and taking care of the home as a woman does. And then there can be a genuine sort of sharing of responsibility at home. And when you have true sharing of responsibility at home, then you will have much more equal opportunities at work. You know, and this
more respect.
This has to happen, but it has to happen at that point. It's not good enough to give como tenemos 2 weeks of
no, it's not fair.
No, nada.
I'm fortunate that I had a lot of help from my husband at home, but I would have welcomed maybe the shared paternity leave.
Of course.
Porque I had my kid, my eldest wouldn't sleep. Y yo era un zombie. Yo era un zombie, and if he would have been home.
And in terms of your career and stuff, like if the female is the breadwinner, she might think, you know what, actually, I'm not going to take the full year off work. I'm going to do my 6 months, and then my partner can take the other.
The choice has to be there. The choice has to be there, and you have to break these gender stereotypes. And that's the only way to do it, to start at the bottom. You know, because afterwards it's all very well said, oh, why aren't there more women politicians? And why aren't there more women this? And why aren't there more women that? But you have to start at the foundations. You have to
it's
change
an interesting
those.
time, no? The
But now also is expected. The women expect the men.
Claro.
To not using the word help, to join forces.
To share.
Now it's expected. I mean, I've seen it in my family with my son and my daughter-in-law.
I think things are better.
You know, much better.
You still hear young women say things like, yes, my husband will do this and will do that, but I'm the one who has to make the decisions. I'm the one who has to tell him, go and buy this and buy that. Tomorrow we're going to have this. Tomorrow...
But then what's funny about that is they say, tu madre no te ha enseñado. En vez de decir, y tu padre tampoco. No? And I think that it's very important that with everything in life that we watch the way that we say things. And we keep up to date with the
We've all become more conscious.
The terminology that we're using. Well, it's an interesting thing coming up for the Minister of Equality. He's mentioned this. He's been quite open. We're not really sure the direction.
They should be sure by now, frankly, because they have been talking about this for years. About parental leave.
It's round the corner.
It's obviously not something that's been given any serious thought. And it's about
No, he hasn't given a date.
No, pero digo, they've been talking about this for years, about the possibility of parental...
He did say that he wasn't going to base it on other countries, that he was going to... That obviously there was... obviously he was going to inform himself, but that he was going to consider Gibraltar as an individual when looking at this?
Well, yes, you have to see. But if you don't do that, if you don't have a structure where the man has to take leave, it won't happen, and the same patterns will just continue.
Yeah.
You know, and basically what we have now is we have a situation where in many cases women take on, they call it the dual double shift or whatever. There's a particular term, and I'm not sure what it is. So that they have the jobs outside the home and so on, but then they also have to take on most of the responsibility of the home and of the family and home, and that's even more unfair.
That is not fair at all. No.
And
it's like they have this big career, but they're also doing everything at home.
Yes, and it's not fair, and that is not what has to change.
Looking towards the future, as women, you know, with a lot of lived experience, what do you hope for the future generation of women in Gibraltar? I'm
hoping, I'm doing a lot of talking, so I want other people to talk.
What do you hope, Venga? What do you hope for your daughter, for example? What do you want for them?
Joe, what I hope for my daughters, that we still can educate those young girls to become strong women, y que siempre haya those that take the extra step forward, como Conchita all her lifetime, ¿no? Que ella ha sido como una banderada aquí en Gibraltar. So there's still, although we all try, that we still manage to create this type of woman to carry on that fight.
Through support, awareness, and education.
Education.
I would say
it's very important.
The three main topics.
And I was going to have.
And do you think that education? Do you think that education starts at home, or it should be something that we incorporate into our education?
It starts at home.
It starts at home.
And for good or bad, that's what shapes people. Mainly. I mean, I think school can help, but I don't think school can do everything. So a lot of what you learn at home.
As a teacher myself, I totally agree. You know, one of the statistics show that a lot of children are coming to school that are not ready. They don't have that school preparedness even at a young age. No? So I think that's a whole other topic.
A lot of issues. No? But I would say to girls, well, basically to learn as much as possible, to read, to find out about things, because very often, if you're ignorant, then you just accept what expectations people have of you and so on. You know, I remember, and I think I said it in that program that we watched a snippet of before. I remember that I said something about the fact that a lot of the girls in those days, we're talking about 38 years ago, I believe, and I'd been teaching for a few years. When that program happened, and I remember that we at school would discuss things with, you know, the girls would talk about their boyfriends and this and that, and my boyfriend, and I remember there were so many girls who would say that they weren't allowed by their boyfriend to walk down Main Street on their own. You know that
the word is allowed. That's where the control comes in. That's when the control.
Just before we go, because I know that we have limited time, I just want to end on a positive note, because although there are lots of things that we can work on and lots of things that we can point out as a society, what's one positive final thought about International Women's Day?
We're all amazing.
Ole tú.
Be yourself.
Support each other.
And support.
Love that.
Yeah. And you, I think International Women's Day is a dual thing. It reminds us of the progress that has been made, huge progress.
I agree.
And it reminds us of all the things that we still need to achieve.
Precisely.
We need to achieve, men and women, because something that I haven't said, but I want to say before we go, that feminism is good for men, because it also allows men to break free from their own negative, limiting stereotypes. You know, the need to be macho, the need to be strong, the need to be this. No, the need to be yourself.
100%.
Without yourself. So it's good for everybody.
Well done. So that's all we have time for tonight. I'm sure you've all enjoyed listening to us. A big thanks to Conchita Triay for her lovely contribution. And thank you all at home for watching. And remember, together, we can do more to promote a world free of bias, stereotypes and discrimination. Good night.